Hi, and thank you for joining me on Bitchute, YouTube, or archive.org for posterity. My name is DJ Chris, and I'm your moderator and host, and this is TargetedWest.com. This is show number 45, and it is part 2. If you watch part 1 with the picture of the lady on it, that is Janet Phelan, and she did an interview with me about her new book, Exile, and on the her other book about the pandemic. And so we put that up for you to watch, and that's 45 part 1, and part 2 is right now. I'm in beautiful Lodi, California at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's the 5th of February, 2023, and I'm a man in the middle. I'm not political, violent, or spewing violence or dis or malinformation. All I do is look for topics and discuss them in our work group, and we have a TI book club that we join with each other to look at books and buy them, which is successful. We have a couple dozen people in it. Anyway, tonight's Sunday call is about BlackJack, and not the game you play in Vegas. BlackJack is Lockheed's new technology they're selling to DARPA that they just spent somewhere over $26 million in 2 payments for a low orbiting satellite system. LEO is what it's called. LEO satellites are low satellites that can be used for broadband communication. They're not like the satellites that are way up into the in space. Matter of fact, an LEO satellite like the BlackJack, which is for military purposes, C6 ISR, reconnaissance and for communicating, and some of the LEO BlackJack systems have quantum computer chipsets in them, and so apparently others do too. LEOs can travel above us from 300 miles to 1,491 miles, and that's what the BlackJack does. It synchronizes around Earth and can give you broadband internet or connect war machines to target us, which is what this is probably about. And I'm here because I have some type of V2K telepathy in my head. The terrorists in my head torture me all day long, and then I get weird, bizarre nightmares at night, which are about my previous life, not previous life, but my life before this today. And a lot of focus in my dreams about my family's house and stuff. Anyway, Project BlackJack, I put a video in on TI Club 3 for you on Twitter, and that is from C4ISRnet.com. That's C4ISRnet.com. They discuss Project BlackJack in detail. Again, that's a Lockheed product. And the difference between an LEO satellite and a GEO, which is geosynchronous Earth orbiting satellites, the regular satellites that you've always known about travel at 22,369 miles above Earth, whereas these little LEOs are only 300 miles from Earth. Okay? So let that sink into your head for a while. If someone tells you it's not a satellite doing it, then you need to ask them, well, what kind of satellite? Because there's not just one kind of satellite. Now there's 2 and even more. There's ones that look over the horizon, but most of them are like this, so it's used for communication. And if you didn't have internet in a certain area, you would bring these LEOs in and launch them and put them into space. And that's that. That's how that works. If you want to do some more research on it, check that out. It's Project BlackJack, and that's a DARPA project, and it's fully disclosed. It started in 2021, and they refunded it with more money in 2022. So it's a viable project, and it's going strong right now. And it could be used to attack targeted people. So keep your eye on the sparrow. Hello, Nancy. I hope you're doing well. It's now 5 minutes after the hour, and the room is filling up. See a lot of people here. Very good. My name is DJ Chris. I'm your moderator, and this is our little work group. We get together every Sunday. Later on tonight, Laura Ann is having a call after mine, so after this is done, after 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Laura's call starts immediately afterwards, but that's, of course, in her time zone, which is 9 p.m. Mountain Time, but it's still 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time if you're in the West Coast. So she'll be on right afterwards. And, of course, I have all of her information to give to you on the next page, the phone number and access code and the ID. My phone number and access code is 412-679-5909, and my access code is 523364, in case you don't have that. So make a note of that. Anyway, we're going to go to the next subject, and that is about something we've discussed before in show number 12 from 6/19 of 2022, and that's an IntelliHub article about DUMBs, Deep Underground Military Bases. And it's an article revisiting the dumb underground bunkers and systems put under the earth for military use. A lot of the reason they have that is because if we were to get bombed and if we were to get hit, we have a system that's safe so that we can keep the United States safe. But are they used nefariously against us? Probably. They say there's a clone program under the ground below us. A digital form of a clone or a human physical clone. I don't know. I don't remember where I heard that from, but there's a lot of crazy stuff besides boll weevils and animals under the ground and gophers. It's a viable solution to maintain your stance in case of a war scenario, whether it be civil war or war against another country. You're going to need that protection, but of course there's debauchery, and that article talks about that. Let's take a look at the chat. Let's see, we've got Hannah Banana, Aloha. We've got Alabama, caller 00. Laura's here. We've got Skip, Targeted Forever, Alabama again, Laura, Nancy, wireless caller D, Laura again, New Orleans, 224, Krista, Gertrude, Name and Tranquility, and me, DJ Chris. Next topic is the UN, our friends at the UN, which I'm not a fan of the UN. I can't tell you exactly the research I did on them, but from what I've gathered, they're not that awesome when it comes to human rights, when it comes to exotic fourth industrial revolution technologies and this gang stalking COINTELPRO that they're doing on us, this security industrial complex that runs throughout the United States and the world that makes a lot of money watching people on lists that the people don't know what list they're on or the name of it or how they got on there. But, people are making money off of these lists and calling us, domestic terrorists and criminals, when in fact, as far as I can see it, the people that are criminals are the ones making money on fake security scenarios by making up stuff, and my telepathy does that a lot. It'll exaggerate silly things and make it into a crime and go on and on and on about it, and I just have to ignore it because it's a law and order machine, and I believe that it's a DOJ contractor through the FBI, or an FBI contractor in my case. Yeah, so anyway, they want to criminalize misinformation, and like I said, I don't give out misinformation. Mal or disinformation is not done here. Every article I glean is smell tested, and I don't spout or repost anything that's violent. It's all just basically technology stuff that I talk about mostly on this call. And then when I go to open mic, we talk about how we're feeling and how we're doing, and about what we're going to do, and get to know each other more and bond. So what do you think? That's a topic. Would you trust the UN to criminalize misinformation? I mean, criminalize? When did the UN become the world justice system? That's weird. Criminalize. I'll take a break for a moment. Oh, it's now 12 after the hour. And Setsa just said the UN can FO, whatever that means. Frequency operation? I don't know what FO means. But the UN is not your friend. We can go in the whole background of the UN, give you full detail on it one day. Next is geomancy. I don't know. I know Setsa probably knows what geomancy is, but geomancy is the measuring of deviations in the earth, or something that's man-made, and it's also used in mathematics for making designs. And Anthony Patch, who I've been studying again, has a magazine out called Entanglement, and I bought a copy for the TI Book Club, and I got the word geomancy from him. He thinks that the quantum chipsets that they're using for D-Wave specifically are from God's temple design, or Herod's temple. So that's where the word geomancy comes from. So you might want to look that up and study it some more. There's more than one definition of that word, too, but this is in regards to mathematics. Geomancy is also how designs in the sand are in centuries ago, and the area people would measure things by the geomancy of the sand. So there's so many different definitions of it. So that's something for you to check. And then the D-Wave 2000Q is their current model. I went to D-Wave and I posted D-Wave's website on my Twitter page, TI Club 3, and they said they're capable of 5,000 qubits, separate qubits running on one machine, and it's the world's fastest computer, super quantum-based computer. I don't know if it's scalar or has scalar capabilities or not, or how they use these to communicate with us on the Earth to us through our brains, but it is possible that they're using, besides EEG heterodyning and the V2K voice of God, an army invention, that they're also using entanglement remotely, and entangling your body, brain, and system with a quantum supercomputer. And the both are communicating either through a scalar style type wave or through some type of maser wave. But it's being done to us, and we know it's there. We know we're not crazy or schizophrenic. Matter of fact, I just watched the an FBI, one of that FBI show on TV. I was taking a nap and laying down, and of course, the bomber guy on the show, the first thing they go, well, he's schizophrenic. And it's like, I just talked to somebody recently who sent me an email, and they instantly got diagnosed schizophrenic. And then I went to my usual clinic, and they forced me to go talk to some therapists for a second, even though I have a psychiatrist for 18 years, but they forced me to see this guy, and he belittled me, told me I was fat, and asked me if my father had sex with me, all within the same minute, and then secretly diagnosed me schizophrenic because I told him I had telepathy at one time. And that's all it takes. It seems to be a reoccurring theme that is used to discredit us, for one, and number two is to probably make some type of money in the background by getting some type of funding. Like they do at school when your child is special needs, they get more funding. They're probably doing the same thing through the state, local, and federal level health departments. You think I'm joking? I'm almost sure of it. They're just pumping the schizophrenia cards out left and right. I mean, you're going to have a whole society that's all schizophrenic. If I were schizophrenic, I wouldn't show up on time, speak clearly, and state my case in a normal manner. I would be all over the road. I wouldn't be doing this. I would have never made it to a whole year of these broadcasts every Sunday. There's no way I could be schizophrenic. And so I talked to my regular shrink, and she says, no, that's a misdiagnosis. You're not. You're depressed with a few side effects, and that's it. And I have major depression, which is a fact. I have had that before I got diagnosed with the schizophrenia, which is a false diagnosis. But see how easily they do that. And so it's the point is you're being attacked by this computer system and this network up in the sky or where have you, or under the ground, and you go to try to get help from someone and they immediately diagnose you schizophrenic and ruin your life, and then you can't get a job, and then you probably won't have a relationship with anyone because you'll probably tell them, and once you tell your family, you're done. So that's just the perfect weapon. They've weaponized the schizophrenia label, and they use a D-Wave 2000Q using advanced AI chatterbots to speak to you all day and night to drive you crazy, to make you feel like you're schizophrenic. But you know, schizophrenic doesn't start in your mid-40s. It starts when you're young. And in my case, I didn't have this telepathy until my mid-40s, and many people were in the same boat. So it's electronic, not schizophrenia. It's being done using scalar waves or maser-type scalar waves, using quantum computers with quantum chipsets, and they're communicating with our body, which is in a quantum field, and our body-brain resonates at a distinctive frequency like a fingerprint. So it's a perfect way to hack an individual person and drive them crazy, or to communicate with them on the field using military technology while you're in the field doing a military move or maneuver. And then you can direct your people to go to a certain direction to fight the war, or find out if they're going to dissent because you're listening to their brains. So it's total brain hacking, and they can hear what I think. They make comments on what I see. They make comments when I go in the bathroom. And it's just nonstop, and this has been going on with me for 21 years. Next is Janet Phelan's interview we did. It's now 20 after, and looking good. Janet Phelan interview turned out really well. That's video number 45, part 1. And she is going to come back and do a second interview about her book, Exile, which will be cool. So we'll be looking forward to that. And my cat's running up and down the screen. We covered the TI Book Club, but if you're on Twitter, type in hashtag TI Book Club, and it discusses the Anthony Patch Entanglement magazine, which was January of 2018. And like I said, he believes the quantum chipsets are designed to be like Herod, the Christ temple. And absolutely true or not true, you have to see why that's happening. Oh, am I not on the video? Oh, I can fix that. There we go. Am I on? Can you see me now? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you see me? Huh. That's odd. Well, I can see myself on here, so it's probably recording. So TI Book Club, we discussed that. Anthony Patch's book was, hang on a moment. Oh. Can you see me now? Oh, I'm back. Yes or no? Oh, we're getting different answers. Well, we'll just not have video. I'm sure it'll come out on the recording. Oh, so Joe can see me. That's weird. Oh, okay, so it's a mixed. It's probably a server issue. Okay, we'll go to open mic now, show number 45, and part 2. Today's the 2nd of February, 2023. It's open mic now, and we're going to switch to open mic. Everybody's muted. You can hit *6 to unmute yourself. And Steve, I call Steve NOS, that's New Orleans Steve, sent me a hot video or information about the U.S. developing a sensor that you wear to defeat Havana syndrome. And so it's a revisit. Some people said they've heard about it before. And that's that. So the question people had in Twitter was, if they're making a sensor, are they just going to give it to the people at the top in the government? Or is the sensor going to be available to hello, Sean. Is the sensor going to be available to everybody? Open mic, what you want to talk about? I do have you an open mic. You want to unmute yourself? You're good to go. And, there's an article about ChatGPT that Setsa is concerned about. And I don't blame him, because it's the work of the devil. And the article about ChatGPT is about Google's competitor's version. They're going to make their own version of ChatGPT, and they're going to compete against each other. So this will be interesting. Under no circumstances is TargetedWest ever going to use the ChatGPT for any of the work we do. We can do it on our own. We're not going to use the devil's device, because it attaches to your cell phone, and they want your ID and stuff, and they'll put you into the Borg. Okay, it's open mic. Talk amongst yourselves.
evening, Chris. I do not want to go to the Borg. I don't. Oh, my.
I don't want you to go to the Borg. And, boy, you've got good timing because the next discussion is voice to heart. Is that you, Laura?
That's me. Hello. Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Okay, everybody. Attention, please. Voice to heart is after my call, and that's Laura Ann's new call. The caller ID is voice number 2 heart. Her phone number to access it, are you guys ready? 605-472-5439. Once again, that's 605-472-5439, and the code is 700459, and she starts right after my call. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for the... What would I do without you? What would I do without you? For the introduction and everything. Geez, all your topics tonight. Lots of topics. I'll try to stay on topic. No Borg. I would be interested in the defense thing that they're probably only going to give the Army, I imagine, or the people at the very top.
Yeah, the censor, yeah.
The censor, of course, but at least people are aware of it. It is coming out every day. I see it eroding around me every day, and it's amazing, and it's almost hard to get used to, but I'm getting used to it.
I know there's so many articles about Havana syndrome now, aren't there?
And these are symptoms I've been having my whole life, and so while it's a horrible thing that's coming out, it's, people, I was talking to somebody earlier, people are aware that it could happen to their children, that it could happen to their grandchildren, that it's a big deal. So there's people speaking out about it all over the place all the time. And it's an exciting time to be alive. Painful, but exciting.
It's a good time to be a TI, too, because we're moving up.
Moving on up. That's true. I agree with that. And I see some of my friends moving on up. And, I want to say just sprouting and being able to talk about this in a way that doesn't scare people. It's amazing. It's awesome. When you come from a place of love with it, which is very, very hard, it's almost like a skill. It's almost like something you have to tame. But if you can bring it from a place of love, as in, what I mean by that is when, you're talking to your family. I remember used to telling my grandpa, he had his third hip replacement. And I told him, Grandpa, why don't you put your phone on your other hip? And he did start doing that. And I didn't mention to him why. He was, I want to say he was an old man, but he was vital. Just little things like that. I would not definitely yell at him and say, well, you're so dumb. This technology is killing you. I would never do that. And just as how you talk to people, they don't want to hear about how dumb they are. They need to be, you need to be understanding a little bit. And it does frustrate me when I see perhaps a mother take her phone and put it in the baby carriage right next to her kid's head. That's something that is hard to...
I saw a 3-year-old walk by with a cell phone today.
That's hard to swallow, and sometimes you have to bite your tongue because you never want to tell a mother how to parent. But, you pick your battles.
Amen. Well, they see mommy and daddy with a cell phone, and then they want one. So next topic is DJ Chris Me has signed the Jim Jordan letter, and in order to, the deadline was today. It was signed by a lot of people, and I signed it, and it's being sent to Jim Jordan's committee, and we'll see what happens. The letter included V2K and all the symptoms and gang stalking and such we're going through, and it was a great letter, and that's going now on Monday to his office. So I wanted to let you know that tievents.org has GoG's conference on it, and GoG is the volunteer for Targeted Justice. So you might want to go check with her, because she's the one that initiated that letter, and her calls are on tievents.org, and you can go join GoG for her work group and participate in a solution. They also talk about the lawsuit that the Targeted Justice has started, the $1.8 billion, I believe, dollars, and they're keeping that going with Anna Toledo. So we're moving on up, right, Laura?
I see us moving on up. I do see us moving on up. And, yeah, there's there's some big things happening actually all over the world I see happening. So my mind just went blank on Anna Toledo. I was inspired by what she said at the end of her video, where she was like, we can no longer, this is our time. This is our time to speak up, and we can no longer be afraid to, this needs to come to light. Extremely illegal. I think it breaks a lot of laws, but most of all, it breaks your brain. You should have the rights to your own brain, your own body even, and the right to just be healthy. And, sorry, I'm having a brain block.
It's Sunday. It's no big deal. Again, I mentioned Janet Phelan's book, Exile. I bought the copy. I'm on page 127. And she went through a lot of hell in L.A. area, in Santa Monica. Anyway, open mic.
Hi, DJ. It's Steve in New Orleans.
I call you NOS. Yes, NOS. How are you?
All right. Pretty good. I sent you an email about something you need to look at and study for later. It's important. I don't know how to bring it out, so like smarter minds to look it over. Okay.
I got 2 emails from you, and I didn't see anything, but I'll check it again.
Yeah, I just sent this one. Okay, sounds good.
I will definitely study your emails, because in case of the censors and the one before that, you went viral.
Yeah, this is important. Just as important as the others.
Well, it's important to you too, because you got lots of stuff going on in your life, and you would like to see a solution. We all have to have hope.
Oh, I have endless hope. I know that we're gonna get through this. There's no doubt.
Next week we'll be talking about Palantir on 212. Predpol is what they do, predictive policing. And we're talking about a new technology called Slingshot. It's a rocket launcher for those LEOs that I've talked about. It literally slingshots satellites into space.
Yeah, that truly sounds like the thing that's going to be the satellite to the brain.
Yeah, well, the LEO satellites are only 300 miles above Earth. They're low orbiting, yeah. People think that all satellites are the same, but the GEOs are 22,000 up in miles in the sky, and these are only 300. So 60 times closer.
It's bad news.
Yeah, and they're using a BlackJack project is with Lockheed and the DARPA, and they're right orbiting above us, and it's definitely going to be part of the brain project for sure. I don't doubt that. Do you?
No, and it's scary to me. Lockheed Martin's about 2 miles away from me. I mean, not even.
Oh, you didn't tell me that before. Now we've gotten somewhere.
It's right down the street.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
You didn't tell me that before.
Well, I didn't. They build they were building the shuttle's giant booster rocket, and I don't know what they're building now, but it's they're right down the street.
I hear somebody else talking too. Come on in. It's open mic. Are you going to go to Laura's call tonight, Stephen?
Yes, I want to check it out. I think she gave me a compliment or two, so I'm definitely gonna. I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, check it out. I'm going to stay there for the first hour and then go to bed. Yeah, we talked about Project BlackJack, which is a Lockheed product. Yeah, the low orbiting is 300 miles to 1,491 miles. So, of course, they're not way up in the sky.
Chris, can you hear me?
Come on in.
Okay, about so mad about them trying to diagnose you is because this has happened to TI friends that I've had. This is ridiculous. I know when I went in to get Medicaid this year, they had me fill out this thing that was in like crayon that they could erase afterwards. But they asked me all these, how does your addiction affect others, all these questions. And then on the other side, are you safe at home, and all these other questions that are really weird. And I'm just like, I fill this out. I'll talk to my friend later, and I'm like, that's all. I just smoke cannabis. Why have they been calling me an addict? Why did they make me fill out that weird stuff? And so I think they put, and then it made me start to think, why am I not safe at home? Would I be safe at home? Why am I not safe at home? They try to create this psychosis for you,
I got the same thing in there. My clinic did the same form as you did.
Oh, that's ridiculous. And then they can erase it, they can erase it when you leave. And I just had a really weird experience anyway, I'll just leave it at that. But when I realized, I was talking to my friend, and she's like, cannabis isn't really an addiction. I don't know if they can, frame you as an addict, but they have all my life, because I do smoke cannabis. However, next time I go in, I'm going to not fill that out. Say I'm not an addict. I smoke cannabis.
You don't have to do that. You're not by law forced to. Yeah, ignore those forms. Don't fill them out, please.
Well, I guess. And it just made me think, if I wasn't in my right mind and I didn't know I was safe at home, I might start thinking, wow, am I safe at home? Why am I not safe at home? You know what I mean? They create a psychosis, and they get you on paper form. And I do hang with a lot of TIs, but here's how I don't roll. I don't yell at my neighbors. I definitely don't point out everybody that I think is following me. That's the best way to frame you. They get you with the little paper, you know, any kind of, you know, correspondence you have with anybody could be written down, and they could write a little complaint and write another complaint. And over the years, I don't roll like that. I don't blame my neighbors or do anything like that. It's just not how I roll. So just so people know, that's not how I am. Yeah.
I hate to say, I thought of something funny though. I did think of something funny. I know you couldn't say this, but say, well, yeah, all my walls are full of tin foil. I'm safe. I know it's not funny.
Yeah, I just don't even roll like that. I mean, some people laugh about it, but I've been framed before, and I've had to prove my own innocence. I don't even proud with that.
Answer that stuff.
Yeah, so, you know, I do try to cause awareness, but I don't mess around with keying people's cars or some of the things that I've heard justified.
I did tell my doctor. I told my doctor, and I gave him the machinery. I gave him Havana syndrome stuff, and she's like, "Oh, what is this?" I said, "I want it put in my record." And they tried to frame me before. I'm not going to get into it, but
I know doctors hate it when you diagnose yourself. However, there's a few scans you can do. There's a few different things. I've seen TIs that have chips in their brain. Their doctor will admit it. They won't remove it, but, you know, I mean, they've had certain IO scans. Yeah. But it's very jarring. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah, they've come beating on the door. I wouldn't answer it. What do they call it? Some kind of health check, and they bring all the psychiatrists to your door and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they try to trick you.
Well, for me, I'm strong enough that I could answer the door. They could do a home check. I'm all good. So I wouldn't welcome that, and that would be a complete violation of my something, I'm sure. However, finally, I'm to the point where I trust myself, and I wouldn't worry about that. However, I still keep a book in my car, in my purse, and one right next to the door, just in case, because the last thing you want to do is get caught in a little white room for 12 hours without a book, without your phone, stripped naked of your rights, you know, nothing. That phone will drive you crazy.
Thank you for your input on that. Yeah, I bring a book, but I have never been in a mental hospital because I've always been in therapy since '94.
That struck a good idea to me, listening to you. You know, if we could find the booklet with our amendments, you know, just our amendments, and because we need them. We need to know our bill, all of our rights, all the time.
Well, unfortunately, since the Patriot Act and the Freedom Act, most of those rights have been taken away because we're in a state of emergency since 9/11, and we haven't stopped it.
And we're domestic somethings, you know.
You're a domestic terrorist, Stephen. That's correct.
Yeah, we're domestic.
And so am I.
Threat.
We're a threat, yes, and we're on the non-investigative threat list.
But they've never caught one. And I heard somebody else say that, Chris, the other day. You said that in your book? They've never caught one running this program, not one?
Yep. And parallel programs and all sorts of parallel programs in this program, and all feeding off the feds and funding.
Oh yeah, it's all about funding, and that's a shame about the ACLU. You know, they're just trying to get that next check. You know, and I don't know who directs them. I've written to the top guys in Washington and everything, and you know, you get no response. But their agenda is just to make sure the funding keeps coming. It looks like they won't help us.
So Laura Ann's call, if anybody just came in, is after mine. It's voice, the number 2 heart. That's her ID to log in. And the number to call is 605-472-5439, and the access code is 700459, and she starts right after this call. So please check Laura Ann out and the voice to heart call.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah? Oh, you're welcome.
Well, I also want to thank Tranquility, too, for posting that for me, and you for posting it for me. I'm not really a, what is that, public? Yeah.
The artwork looks great.
Well, that wasn't me. That was DJ Chris, so you can thank him.
Oh, you did
yeah.
that, DJ.
Yeah,
nice.
I don't Twitter or social media or anything like that, so he helped me out. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, I call it a card. I make cards with, you know, like a picture with stuff on it, you know.
Yeah, that's a good job.
But I'm retired. I just do it to help you guys out. So you're listening to TargetedWest.com, and we've got Laura and Stephen with us. Welcome to the call, everybody. And if you're watching me on Bitchute, YouTube, or archive.org, and you don't like dead time, then come on in and say a word and come into the call. It's Targeted West is the ID at freeconferencecall.com. Anyway, back to the talk.
So yeah, Steve, I thought it was cool that you got something to go viral, even though you don't have social media. I watched a cute movie this weekend. I went to a cute movie called Otto, and this guy did the same thing. He didn't even have a phone, but he had rescued somebody on a train. It's a long story, but he had rescued somebody on a train, and some social media, big, she had like millions of followers. So when his real estate company, this big real estate company, came and tried to like run them out, he called her. But he called her from a neighbor's phone. He didn't have a phone. But he called her, and she ran right to make a big story. And he broke it, and he exposed a lot of corruption going on with these real estate gurus, and they're messing with your medical information, how they do. They go in, they get dirty. They go into your family, and they talk to your family about your medical history and saying that you're not capable of taking care of yourself, or perhaps you're not.
Oh yeah. They do that now.
Criminal.
They do that.
Well,
they do that now. Targeting.
I exposed it. Yeah, it was. This is how this guy exposed it. I thought it was a great movie about how you should, we don't really take care of one another anymore, and we should care about what our neighbors are going through, and in some cases, the injustice that are going on. Some cases they can't take care of themselves, and they don't see. And they don't have social media, and they don't know how to expose it. And especially if you're sick. And so, I don't know. I thought it was a great
I bought a house. And I sat on the porch every day and waved to everybody, but I was the only white person on the street, and they all hated me, and I sold it. So neighbors suck. Sorry.
Well,
like a bozo, I sat on that porch with my little radio waving at everyone, and not one hit.
That sucks, but that's my dream, is to sit on a porch and watch the world go by. It'd be awesome. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like doing that. I have a porch at home, and I can sit and watch the cars go by. It's a good pastime. It really is. When you're older like me, you'll be doing it for sure. And you'll think about the past and all the good work you did, Laura.
You know.
The only thing is now, if you sit in one place for too long outside, you can have the directed.
Well, I'm not letting that stop me from sitting outside, Stephen. I don't live like that. I don't spend my day thinking I can't go outside because I'm going to be hit. I don't get hit with directed energy weapons. I only get V2K or telepathy, and it just hits my foot a little bit. But no, I'm not going to live like that.
Yeah, I do, though. And if I stand in one place too long, it wipes me out. It can knock you down, too.
Open mic. Any new people want to talk? Come on in. It's open mic. So again, like I said, next week is going to be Palantir, which is predictive policing. As a matter of fact, to disclose, I have some stock with them, but I have it, just a few shares, so I can get the inside scoop on them. Then I can tell you what they're up to. But predictive policing is a new market. There's many companies out there like Geolytica. They're one of them. And they predict if you're going to do a crime or not based on people who have committed crimes in geographical areas, and they have literally put people in jail for predictive policing, and it's no good. And it's just like the movie Minority Report, but it's really happening now. Got 8 more minutes on the recording, so if you got anything you want to put in posterity, you got 8 minutes to do it. Come on up on the mic.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, come on in.
My name is Krista, and I live in Parker, Colorado.
Well, welcome to the call. Come on in.
Okay, I'm going to tell you my findings. Is that when
yes,
I'm
please
targeted,
tell us. Yeah, go ahead.
I go outside my house. I look up. There's a plane right above my house. So I started tracking them, and it turns out it's the same planes all the time. And they fly at the same speeds, at the same altitude, and they've put up all these microwave towers around my house and fake trees with 5G all over in it. So I think what they're doing is they're getting in close enough that they can hit these towers, and that's what sends their frequency in. So I've been tracking these planes nonstop since August. And it's quite amazing to see how many planes, helicopters, even military that are involved with this I'm not saying all military. I'm saying there's corruption in every asset of this world. And it's just amazing to see how many times when I'm hit with the energy, I write down the time, I look up the date, I look up the exact time, or maybe 10 minutes prior, and also they hit the pump on my house. They hit the smart meter. The first thing it does is send off my pump because we have our own well here. So the first major pull of energy when they hit the pump or the meter is it hits the pump and it turns it on, and it's really loud. So I know that someone's within 30-mile range, and then I start looking to see what planes are in the area. Funny, it's the same exact planes all the time since August. That's why I'm telling people when you get hit with energy, you better start looking up, because they're the ones with the direct energy weapons. They're hitting these smart meters, causing dirty electricity, and people are in the clouds. A lot of times they don't even look up. I'll be like, wow, did you see this in the sky yesterday? They're like, huh? Nobody's looking up, but everybody needs to look up because they're doing it from above. Not all of it, I'm sure, but a good portion of it is done from above us.
That's because people are too busy looking at their devices, right?
Exactly. People need to pay attention to what's going on around them. And we need to come together to put a stop to this. And if everybody's so busy on their phone and their 9-to-5 work week and this, and nobody has time to get together, to come together, to really make a difference, I mean, we have nobody to blame but ourselves.
Yeah, you need total situation awareness like they teach in the military. I don't know why people don't adhere to that and know what's going on around you.
Yes, it's very important to do that. And I do know for a fact that some of my neighbors are directly involved, and I've let them know right to their face, like, I don't appreciate what you're doing, but, if it's been going on for years and years and years, you damn well know who's involved, The same car at the end of the driveway every day, I mean, it's quite obvious. And so I call them out when I see them. I'm just like, hey, stop doing what you're doing and live your life, and I'll live mine. And, there's better things you could be doing with your time, obviously.
I agree. Anybody want to comment?
Some are paid to do what...
Well, here's the thing. You can't do that with me because I've been set up that way, and I'm not going down like that again. So I'm not trying to point at anybody and, yell at anybody.
Oh, good thing that we have a freedom of speech, and I use it every chance I get.
Well, then we might walk our dogs less, is all.
Stand up for your rights, people, including the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. We all need to stand up, right to bear arms, right to freedom of speech. No matter what the word is, we're allowed to say it with the freedom of speech. So, the fact that they have put it in our heads that we do not have these rights, I beg to differ. We sure as hell do. And they're the ones that put it in everybody's head saying, no, you don't. And it's the same elite families, the same military-industrial complex, the same people. And when you follow the little white rabbit, or you go down the rabbit hole, all you have to do is follow the money. Follow the money, you find the criminals doing this to everybody.
I agree. Thank you for your commentary. We're about to close the recording. Thank you for watching us on YouTube, BitChute, or archive.org. My show will be back on the 12th, next Sunday, and we'll be talking about, again, predictive policing. So thank you for watching the video, and thank everyone for participating in the recording. It will be going off in just a moment, so thank you. And my name is DJ Chris. This is TargetedWest.com. We have a website you can check out with the info blog and everything on it. So check out my website, TargetedWest.com, during the week, and check out tievents.org. And the recording is stopping now. Thank you.